Welcome back to Dow Twang on Patreon. This is going to be so much fun, man. We're only a few days into this, and it's Monday. And last Thursday, we launched this thing 4 days ago. And then right when we launched it, we got in our car and we drove over to Kentucky. We live in Missouri now. I grew up in Kentucky, and my dad still lives there. So we visited him, and he lives in a pretty rural area. So didn't do very much work over the weekend and spent time with family. But I was checking in with the phone, and I could see every day I have a couple. You got a new patron. You got a new patron. I was like, this is going to be really fun, and already solved a couple little glitches with help from some feedback from some folks that are following, and you know just really looking forward to this. And, people don't even know about it yet. So I can't really give too many shout outs to folks or whatever like I want to, because a lot of YouTube subscribers, several in particular, a couple, really helped us get this going and kind of inspired us to do this. And most of you all know a lot more about YouTube and Patreon and stuff than I do, I assure you. And my wife is kind of helping get in there and really figure this stuff out. And we just want to make it the best that we can for you. So if you are supporting us now already, and I haven't reached out to you personally yet, I'll be getting to that, tonight or in the next couple of days. I just talked to a couple people today that were some of the first ones to sign up to help us out. Really appreciate it. So today we've got just some good old rock licks, pentatonic licks. I've got a tab written out for the stuff that you just saw in the intro. I kept that intro short, right? But I also want to emphasize and demonstrate some that you can go through that as just a routine. It's kind of one time through a larger cadence. There's kind of a drum fill at the end of the backing track, and you can feel that it kind of starts over. But you could jump in there anywhere with it. The chords are it's like an A mixolydian tune, but the groove starts on G, D, A. Right, it hangs out on that A, right? So we're using A major and minor pentatonic on this. I've got that tab right here in front of me on my iPad. This isn't stuff that I compose it and then I write the tab for it, and I kind of, do it back and forth like that. So when I'm doing this part of the demonstration, I may or may not execute it just exactly like I did in the demo. But it's really close, because I went back and I actually watched the video when I tapped, right? So let's go through some of these, get kind of loosened up. I'll show you the positions. We can kind of chunk this out, because what's really useful for this, I think, is you can play it through the routine, like I said, that's on the intro demonstration. But what you want to do is take each one of these segments that I'm about to show you and, reverse them, turn them inside out, do everything you can do with those constellations, I call them. The sequence and the bends and the lick that I'm playing is just one out of an endless number of ways to use each one of these kind of sequences and positions, right? So let's just jump in here and kind of get it going, get loosened up. Now, you'll hear this drum fill. I'm kind of waiting for it there. Okay. already, don't worry about comparing it, exactly to what's in the intro lick, right? There's the tab for them. And that'll be in the comments. I love how these supplemental tabs and things attached to these videos on Patreon versus having to go to the description section on YouTube and then to my Google Drive, and that's so tedious. This is excellent how they have this set up on here. So that first lick is a big pentatonic lick. It's right. Here are the unison notes at the end of that. The last two notes are the same pitch. That's just a way to really kind of make something sound slicker than it really is, right? And that's a good thing. That. And, some of these are kind of more connecting ideas or just kind of, more intermittent phrases, I guess. This is a big lick. It has a pickup notes before the downbeat, right? It's like if that's your first lick, you've already established that you're going to be rocking, right? You're not going to be poking around and stuff to try to get going on this. That one puts you. That's a good way to enter the room, right? So let's put this on here and take each one of these, maybe in your own versions of them, and kind of just, work out on them. Then wait. Okay, there's that second one. Let me put it up here for you. We might not go through every one of these, as precisely as this, but the tab's there for them. Once you get the feel, you'll get it. So I went. See how those slightly different each time? I don't know these licks like the back of my hand. I created them today, right? I use parts and pieces of them every day, but I don't do the same thing every day, right? And you won't be either. So you can use that intro demonstration as a reference, but try to not get too hung up on, it has to be identical, right? But I want you to get used to, kind of the system of the symbolic method of the tab. That's a bend from 15. And then the fret number after the B, of course, is the destination pitch. Right? So you got all that business. It just describes bending from 15 up to the pitch of 17 and then back down. Right? And I'm not putting the little micro bends in there and stuff, right? But that's just a felt thing. You can if you want to pull that down. Notice how that's the same notes down here that might look more familiar to you, some of them, right? And even this one. I just like it up here. I like that it's offset by a fret like that. It just feels better. I love that G string, just the sustain that you get when you put that vibrato on that string. And it's a little, like if I were doing it down here, the first lick, I'd probably be more likely to slide it or something. I just don't know if I would, the tension of the strings and stuff. but you have your own preferences and stuff that you're used to. But I just want you to recognize that there's different locations for all of this. Um, then I've got just kind of this one's more of a major pentatonic. That third one right there. Let me put it up here on the screen. So you've got another kind of bend up and bend down there. Right. Let's take those three and see what happens if we. I'll play them in order, and then I'll just kind of like use them to make more of an improvised solo. Right. Sort of try mixing them up a little bit, altering them a little. Don't have to wait for the whole loop. Well, there it is. That's just me being me, right? But what I'm showing you is that's the stuff that what I'm playing on this is made out of, and there's sequences. But the important part is that you can carve out, I call them constellations, but and that refers more to the note groupings. But you also want to carve it out in terms of like the phrasing of it, right? Notice how each time I went around, I may not just go. I'm gonna go. If I put some extra notes in there, but the overall shaping of it is very similar, but it's embellished different, right? It's decorated differently. If you listen to a lot of blues playing and certainly British invasion stuff and the kind of thing that this is based on, rock blues stuff, there is a there is a theme. There's a repetition a lot of times. Like as the jam goes on, you feel the cadence more and more, but the notes are slightly different. The phrasing is slightly different. Okay. So we're talking about the improvisational aspect of it right now. But I'm giving you some real solid materials here, hopefully, to just get you going with it. This last couple of lines that I have tabbed out here are. Okay. Right. And again, I'm not playing exactly what I played in that intro, or maybe what's on that tab right there, but that's the long and the short of it. I think I dipped down that time. Right? That works. Or I could just go. See how many options you have? That's the thing I really want you to embrace, right? And, at first, you just sort of like, oh, I just want to play it like you're playing it or whatever. I get that, but and go ahead and do that if you want, but don't let it interfere with you being you, right? I love that sound, that bend. It's like a Joe Walsh type of sound, right? There's a guy, his name's Carl Verheyen. He's a great musician and an excellent fellow. He used to come into this shop where I worked in Los Angeles, and he would show us stuff. And that was one of the things that he would. And you know what was cool about Carl is that he's the guitarist for Supertramp um, for the last many years. Um, that he's an overall virtuoso. Um, he would listen to you play something and then add something to it for you. Right? He never was like, you guys should do this. Not once. It was always like, play something. And we'd play something, we'd be all freaked out, about it. And he'd be like, oh, cool. Yeah, you know what you could do? You could put this on there. Or whatever. This was one of those things. I'd never played that little chromatic. Right? And he even credited Joe Walsh when he showed it to us. He even said, this is kind of a Joe Walsh thing. And I thought that was really cool. And it let me know that, like, all these guys were like, acknowledging one another, right? Like, that's why I do this, because I had all those Joe Walsh licks. And it's a great one. I won't go into too much detail, but you can see how I put, when I came down from that bend, I made it go from 13 to 12. When I bent it on the way up, I went from 12 to 14. See all the little nuances in that? I'm going to put this track on and I'm just going to hang out on that part of it. And I could do this all day. I love that sound of all that bending and just staying in one spot like that. Hopefully that was a nice or an example of that made sense to you. And then the last thing on here is just a real that's just minor pentatonic shape 1, Frampton. Yeah, that's just and that's where you just do you, right? Just get in there and just close that off. That each time that you go around that kind of larger pattern in the track, just close that off with just a good solid thing that you don't have to do it the same way each time, but you know where it's at, right? Open strong and close strong, right? And in between, do cool stuff too. But when it's your turn at a jam session or something, or just when you're playing with the track, come in strong and go out on a solid note. And if it's the root, great. Don't worry about something fancier at the end than at the beginning. Just come right in strong like that and use a region of the scale and stuff that you're very familiar with, right? And when you get in there, you can mess around a little bit more, and nobody's gonna hold it against you if things don't work out perfect, right? Okay. Check out the tab on this. I'll put a backing track video up for it that's separate as well. Have fun. Let me know how this goes. I'll talk to you soon.